All right, hello YouTube. We just had our first day of practice with our Xenith Xflexion shoulder pads. Overall, my son loves the pads, but we've got one minor cosmetic challenge that we've got to fix. And you'll see it here in just a second. I think we needed to address this. Didn't realize that the straps were going to give us this much excitement when we put them out on the football field. So what I did was, I came up with about a $10 fix out at Walgreens. I ran out this morning to figure out how we could address this cosmetic issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask my football model to lift up his shirt, show us the pads. We're going to show you how to do this, but I'm going to show you the fix after he tucks these in. We'll show you what the cosmetic difference is so we can see that nice trim set of pads like we normally get when we're out on the field, as opposed to, well, an exaggerated silhouette out on the football field. So just let him finish fixing this. Pop the straps down. This is about the second time he's done this. This will get a little bit better with time. Shirt back down. Now we've got the silhouette that we ought to have when we're out there playing. So, thought you'd like to see that. I'm going to pause, show you the materials, go through the procedure. We'll have another set of these ready in about 10 minutes. Alright, so I'm going to show you the materials really quick that I pulled together. Again, I did this at Walgreens this morning. It took me about 15 minutes to decide on what to buy. I'm sure there's some other solutions. Love to see some other creative ideas that you guys have. But this is going to definitely work, and should work for the season, even if I have to replace one or two. It cost me, I think, literally $12 in materials. I do have a pair of 10 snips. You can use any scissors. They just happen to be really sharp, work well on duct tape. And I've got wire cutters here, so any pair of wire cutters you have will work, as long as you can snap a bobby pin. In fact, you could actually bend the bobby pin until it breaks. You don't have to have a pair of wire cutters. So let me just walk through the procedure and show you what I put together real quick so you can see what's going on. So grab a bobby pin, find the flat side of a bobby pin. These are roller pins by Conair. I intentionally bought these because they were kind of small and thin. If you look at them, excuse me, you can see that they're pretty small. I don't need something big. I just need a base to wrap some tape around. So that was the intent. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut off a section. We're going to end up with a section that's about a ½ inch. So I'm going to go snip, snip. So just about a ½ inch. Sorry, my trash pile over there. Just about a ½ inch, and the reason is because we just need enough to go to get the tape wrapped around. We just need enough to get in behind to hold the tab in place. So I'm going to drop that for a second. Obviously, I already have my duct tape open. I'm going to cut off a section. It's going to be just a little bit bigger than the bobby pin, or at least the part of the bobby pin that I cut. The tape, you're going to want to keep minimal from a tape standpoint. You don't want a ton of tape, and you'll see why in a minute, because as you wrap it up, it's still going to fit through the holes. But I want just enough tape. I'm going to drop, this is probably a little more tape than I really want, actually. So I'm going to trim it in a second. But have the tape be just a little bit wider than the bobby pin. Again, you'll see why in a minute as we roll things up. You'll see how that'll work out nicely. And I'm actually going to trim off a slight little bit. I've experimented with this a couple of times, so kind of getting a good feel for it as to exactly what I need. But basically, I think I've got about a ½ inch on either side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fold to the middle here, just a slight overlap. Fold to the middle, just a slight overlap. Okay, nice flat section. It doesn't hurt to make it square or angular, right angles, rectangular. Trim it down, and again, you'll see as we roll it up, having it somewhat symmetrical is actually very nice. It's handy to have it somewhat symmetrical. So once I've got a piece that looks like this, you can probably see the dent there in the middle. You can see the idea is that we've got the little piece of bobby pin on the inside. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a little notch in the middle, a little V notch. And I'm going to cut the V notch in there because that's what I'm going to actually use to help guide the scrunchie, the hair tie. Quite familiar with scrunchies. We've got 2 girls in the house and lots of scrunchies all the time. So actually that's part of what made me think of the scrunchie idea, just because I knew it would be a good hair tie. Although I do get the rubber ones. Note that I don't have the cloth ones because they're actually pretty weak. I bought lots and lots of scrunchies over time, and I can speak from personal experience and watching 2 girls go through hundreds of them that it doesn't take much pulling for them to pop. So I notched this out as a guide. It's going to help me in a second as I wrap the tape. I'm going to cut a length of tape that's going to go down one side and up the other, just really as a guide and to hold it in place. So I hate to do it, but I got to go back to the duct tape. So forgive me for that. I'm not a big fan of cutting the duct tape in little teeny strips, but it sure is effective when done right. So we're going to go just enough. Go up one side and down the other. And I'm doing this all in real time because I know I like to see about how long something's going to take in real time when I watch these things on YouTube. So again, with the V notch as a guide, I'm going to lay the tape on the one side, guide it down, wrap it over. There we go. All right. Now, like I said, somewhat symmetrical is important because then we're going to roll these. Actually, I like to roll it back this way. I'm going to roll these. I'm going to roll this nice and tight because this is going to end up going through the little silver where the buckle, the tip of the buckle goes into. So I've got to get 2 more small pieces, roughly an inch in length. You don't want them to be too much longer than that. Very simple reason is that if they get too much longer, it gets too thick. It's about 1.25 inches probably. It gets too thick to go around the, to go through that hole that you're going to need to go through. And I've done this about 4 or 5 times now, so you're getting the benefit of my failed experiments, if you will. Trim it down, try to keep it nice and even. And the same thing with this. I'm going to trim it just a little bit thinner. It needs to fit roughly on each side that's sticking out on that hair tie or the scrunchie, or we'll just call it the rubber band because it is rubber and it is a band. And if your son's worried about it being off a girl's hair tie, then he doesn't really need to know. All right, so I'll take each one of these, set this piece down for a second. Now, roll this up fairly snug, roll it over onto itself, and nice and tight. And then wrap this piece of tape nice and snug. Try to keep it tight also, the best you can. Nice tight little roll. All right, so here's one. I'm going to do one more on the other side. Same thing, other side. All right, so just to be fair, so you don't think this is the first time I've done it, I've made about 5 of these now, so it took me 5 to get it down to a pretty tight little package there. You can get an idea and see what it looks like. Now let's stick them back in the pads. In fact, this may actually be, hang on for 1 second, this may actually be the hardest part of the entire project, actually sticking them in the pads. So let's just focus over here to the pads. I've been pushing it through from the front to the back. A little hard to see, but push it in, pull it through, fold it through itself, just like you saw the other one, and voila. Once we put the buckle in, once we get it connected, 1, 2, and there you go. And now we've got a fix for the Xflexion shoulder pads. Thank you very much. $10, 10 minutes of supplies, a couple times of practice, and I've got a season-long fix that'll keep us from having that not as desired look out on the football field. Thanks for watching.